Well, hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching. It's been a little while since I've put up a video, so big thanks to those of you who have been liking, subscribing, and if you're watching today, I really appreciate it. YouTube's absolutely a crowded house these days, but hopefully we can add some value, get away from all the bullcrap going on in the world, and just get really focused on our life, really focused on our mission, our responsibility, what it is we need to do for our family. Maybe you want to get into cybersecurity to break the poverty cycle. Maybe you need a career change. Maybe you want a job that can open up the opportunity for you to maybe work from home, to have more time with your family. Whatever it is that's important to you, there are your reasons. And your reasons are going to be the fuel, the accelerant that is going to push you and drive you through the challenges of trying to build a career in cybersecurity. It is not an easy career path. Working, whether it be consulting, compliance, being a security operations analyst, penetration testing, these skills take years to develop, and it's a competitive field. Many people, through the 2010s, cyber has really taken off, becoming a lot more popular, a lot more in the mainstream, and where there is popularity, where there's opportunity, people flock to it. And many people are probably thinking, well, maybe it's too late. Maybe the ship has sailed for me. So I want to break down this video today on how to help you get into the industry, just give you some tips, some advice, some things that I've learned along the way. If you don't know much about my background, you can watch some other videos. I talk a little bit about where I've come from. I'm not going to keep repeating myself there, but essentially I didn't come from a technical background, and I made a career shift in my early 30s. Okay, so and I'm very glad that I did that. All right. Before that, I was stuck in a trade that I was very dissatisfied in. That voice in my head started to become a scream where I just had to change. I had to step outside of my comfort zone, and I had to go and commit to making a change. Right. And that's good. Follow your intuition, follow your inner guidance that's pushing you and driving you in a direction that you need to go in. And I'm very glad that I found cyber. So let's jump into the first point that I'd like to talk about in regards to building your career. Okay, so you're new, maybe you're in university, maybe you've just done a TAFE certificate, maybe you've just done a few security certifications, Blue Labs, CompTIA, all these various certifications. We're not going to go too much into what I think you should and shouldn't do around certifications, okay? There's a lot of opinions around that. I'm just going to break down what I did, how it's worked out for me, and things that I've learned along the way. So the first point is make sure when you're applying for jobs, all right? So LinkedIn's pretty rubbish. I mean, a majority of the times when I applied through LinkedIn, I didn't get a job. However, the jobs I did get were through LinkedIn, okay? So don't disregard LinkedIn. Make sure your profile is good. Get a professional headshot, whether you got a friend who's a photographer, maybe your partner's got an iPhone 16, like a really good camera or something. Get a professional headshot, blur or white the background, wear a tie or just wear a nice polo or a nice shirt. Get a good headshot. Make sure your LinkedIn looks good. You don't have to go crazy on details on there, but, put what you're working on in there, put some of your skills and attributes. You don't need to go personal into it. Just a little bit of a shell to help you appear more legit and more attractive. The next point is that people say, the advice I got was just apply for any job, right? Yes and no. Make sure that you are actually reading the job requirements before you apply. It's tempting to just spam recruiters, but it is important to be mindful of the language of the job advertisement, okay? If the job specifies that it's entry level, then apply 100%. Read the language of the job description, very important. The reality is that there's a bit of a disconnect between expectation and reality. That there are some recruiters out there who don't really know about the industry, and they go on chat or they go online and they look at the most prestigious or the most sought after certifications and they list them as their requirements, even sometimes for entry level jobs. Let's be clear, a CISP certificate from SANS that is not entry level, right? That's generally someone who's got like 5+ years of experience in IT, CISA Plus, that's a couple of years of a SOC analyst experience, OSCP. Again, you got to be pretty switched on and know what you're doing to actually gain those certifications. They're very hard and they're expensive. So if you see jobs advertising them, well then, and it's entry level, well, there's a bit of an issue there, okay? So be mindful of that. But if a job says that it prefers you have a degree or it prefers certification, preference doesn't mean you must have it. It just means that they're saying that they would like you to have it, because what business doesn't want to pay someone $70,000, $80,000 a year to have all these great certifications, right? It's not, it's a little bit unrealistic, it's a bit cheeky, but businesses do it, and it's not illegal. They are allowed to do it. So read the language of the job you're applying for, and if you think you tick those boxes, just apply. Even if it's a few boxes, just apply. Try and get yourself to that interview stage. Now, the next step is when you get yourself to the interview stage. That is, you want to present yourself in the best way you possibly can. Okay, you're only going to get maybe 1 or 2 chances to demonstrate yourself to the person. And the way I did it was, obviously, you want to come across someone who's grounded, someone who's focused and knows what they want, okay? You don't feel like you need to say something to keep them happy, okay? If they ask you what your goal is or what it is that you would like to achieve in your career, be honest. Even if you have no idea what that is, just have some general idea of where you would like to go and be honest about it. Don't answer a question because you think that that's what they want to hear. For example, you're applying for a SOC position, but you're actually really interested in penetration testing. Tell them that. I like penetration testing, but I want to build a career in cybersecurity. That's good, because it tells them that, okay, he's interested in this industry, okay? If you say something completely left field or non-associated, the business is going to think, well, do we really want to invest money and time into this person that's probably only just going to leave in 6 months or a year to go to a new career? So you've got to be very mindful of that. Be honest, but don't be too honest in regards to your career plans and your intentions. Keep it strictly about cybersecurity and where it is you want to go. The other thing is just be yourself, okay? Don't go in acting arrogant. Don't go in pretending that you know everything. The reality is, as an entry job, if you're getting started in this career, they're not going to expect you to know everything. And in fact, you're going to go into this job and you're going to learn all the tools and the technical stacks that they work with. And the company that you're applying to, they might not list and label their technologies for obvious reasons, like security issues and things like that. They're not going to tell that. So you'll learn a lot of what you'll learn on the job, okay? And that will depend on the company you work for and the technology they work with, but you will learn it as you go. So that's a very important thing as well. Just go in, be professional, be honest, be driven, and assure them that where you lack in technical skills, you make up for in work ethic, right? Work ethic is the ancient, most powerful thing there is. Work ethic is the difference between, you can be a smart guy, but a guy with work ethic, he shows up when he's having a bad day. He rocks up early. When he has to, he works late, and he doesn't tell anyone he's doing it. He doesn't advertise it. He just does it, because there are times in your life and in your career where you're going to have to put the extra mile in. And I'm not saying you need to be a corporate slave and, sacrifice time with your family and the people you care about, but there will be times in this career where you will have to put the foot down and you will have to go the extra mile. And if you're someone who is resilient and who's willing to do that and has that work ethic, and you can sell yourself in that manner, that's a huge asset to a company. This is cybersecurity. You're expected to be self-reliant at times. You're expected to be self-motivated. You don't always have somebody on your shoulder going, click this, do that, okay? That would be micromanagement. It would be annoying. You are expected to do your duty, okay? So make sure that you're coming across as someone who's trustworthy and who is reliable. And this starts with your history, okay? So if you're not currently in a job, well, then I would really encourage you to make sure that you are working, that you have some kind of traceable history, some kind of traceable work history, and that they can look back to and see, okay, this guy is not just talk, all right? There's a lot of people out there, and I don't want to offend anyone, who they're asking for opportunities and they're not really doing anything to deserve them, okay? Going to the odd talk conference, the odd little meet up here and there, I'm sorry, like, yeah, it's cool. It's a great hobbyist thing, shows your enthusiasm for the industry, but it's not enough, okay? Again, you can't talk about work ethic, it's demonstrated, right? And you got to put yourself in the shoes of a hiring manager and a business owner who's about to invest in you, because it's an investment bringing someone into your team, right? For example, if you want to become a SOC analyst, there might be extra certifications the company will need to pay for you, right? Microsoft certifications, Blue Team Labs or whatever, level 1, all that type of thing. They might pay these certifications for you. All right, so it's an investment. I've mentioned that in previous videos. Okay, so that's kind of the main thing. Just be somebody who's worth investing in. And I know that people have health problems, mental problems, and all these things. I'm not trying to insult anyone, but I really, really cannot emphasize enough how important it is to make sure that you're selling yourself in the best way as possible, and that you're employable, that you've been working, that you can interact in a team. These things are really important. The technical stuff, trust me, you learn that on the job. Most of what you do all day as a SOC analyst or as a penetration tester is research. You're just looking at things, looking things up, learning how to do things. That's, it's a job where you get paid to learn, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? For some people that probably drives them crazy, but for many people love it. So that's my recommendations there. I'd say, yeah, just make sure your LinkedIn's good. Make sure you're coming across professional. Keep building your network. Don't be scared to reach out to the odd recruiter if you feel comfortable. If you've met them before, reach out and just say you're looking. Another important thing is more on when you get to a technical interview. Again, don't feel like you have to know everything. If you don't know something, just say, look, not too familiar with that. Answer it to the best of your ability. But don't be afraid, but don't lie, okay? Don't be afraid to say that you don't know. Some people want to act like they know everything, because you get really strong feelings of insecurity when you're trying to go for a job, especially when you don't know everything. And look, no one knows everything, but that in itself is a test sometimes that you've got to be mindful of, that employers, they want to see that they've got someone who has integrity, that can be honest about things, and that has a humble attitude, and that is willing to listen and learn, because that in itself is worth its weight in gold. Trainability and humility are beautiful skills that aren't really taught. They're things that we learn and that we do throughout our lives. So if you have that attribute, that's going to be very valuable to employer, because they can use you, you know what I mean? And I don't mean use you in a bad way. They can use you in a good way. They can build you up, train you, and that training is what's going to help you build your career. Then you can take those skills, and then you no longer need to be the new guy. You no longer have to be the entry guy. You've got the skills, and you can start taking a new job, and you can start climbing that ladder. So that's my advice. Don't act like you know everything. Technically, you should be still learning, all right? So if you've got no foundation, I would get that sorted. Go do I don't know what your budget is or where you live in the world. It might be expensive. The government might pay for it, but I would say go do an IT course. Go do a cybersecurity. Here in Australia, it's called a Certificate 4. I really am glad that I did that, because it's a solid foundation across a wide range of topics of things that you will be working with in cybersecurity. Scripting, AWS cloud, working with, obviously networking is a core unit. It's a core fundamental. You need to understand the basics of networking, how networks work, subnets, internal IP addresses, external, all those type of things. You need to understand that in cybersecurity, especially if you're a SOC analyst and even a penetration tester, because you need to know how networks work in order to move through them, or to know where an attacker is in that. So if you don't have that foundation, I really strongly suggest that you do that as a priority. but your learning is continuous, okay? Now, on top of your learning, project stuff. This is a good one, and this is a very good tip. Something that I wish I did a little bit more of, but I was fortunate enough to get to work. But I would say set yourself up a cybersecurity project, right? Could be a blog, write a post. Could be learning about malware, write up about malware. Could be making, like, I've made my own security tool using Python. And doing Flask and some HTML to make a interface. That's something I've been working on, making my own security tool. Do something like that using API keys to scrape information. Make your own tool, okay? And it doesn't have to be completely from scratch. You can use it to pull information from other sources, okay? But the advantage of project work, doing your own project, is it shows a lot of attributes. One, it shows creativity. It shows that you're self-driven, shows that you're self-learning. It shows that you're interested in the industry, and it shows that you have, again, that open thinking, that you can think outside the box, that you can look outside a rigid four walls, and you can think and you can do projects and you can come up with new ideas. That's very valuable to a business, and something where I work, that's quite important, your ability to do projects, to finish projects. So I'd just start a project, and when you go to that job interview, you got things you can talk about. Okay, I'm working on a script that scans networks for vulnerabilities. I'm working on a blog at the moment talking about a particular malware. They're going to love that. That's going to love that because that's what you do in the job. So do a project. If you need some help or some ideas, just go to ChatGPT. Just say, please give me an idea as a cybersecurity project that I can show a future employer, and ChatGPT will spit out all type of things. You can create your own firewall or something, packet tracer, set up your own network and build firewalls and rules. It's endless. I could go on all day of all the things you can do, but do something. And if you're not super technical, just write a blog. Don't just go to one of the threat intelligence feeds on Google, find an article, and just follow that article and come up with your own investigation or thought on it, all right? And just write it in your own style. Make sure you source where you got the article from, obviously, but that's your own work, you know what I mean? That's an analysis that you've performed, and that will show that you're aware of cyber threat intelligence, which I can talk a little bit more about later. But anyway, this video has gone on for a long time, so if you stuck around, awesome, nice work. You're not afflicted by the dopamine crisis. Please like, and if you want to see more, just subscribe. I really appreciate it. Anyway, all the best. If you have questions, shoot out, and if you have any opinions on things that I might have missed, drop a comment. See ya.